in this video, I'm going to break down how much it costs for a financial advisor to generate leads and appointments. So the first way that you can get leads as a financial advisor is to buy leads from a third-party vendor. So this is where you would go to a traditional lead generation company and they will sell you leads. Typically, the leads that they sell you after speaking with hundreds of different financial advisors over the years, from what they've told me, the lead cost varies from $200 to $300 per lead. However, I need to make it clear that this is for a lead. This is typically for someone that fills in a form online requesting more information. So a lead does not equal an appointment. And that's a very important thing that you need to be aware of when you're buying leads. What's more important than a lead is a qualified appointment booked on your calendar. So when it comes to getting appointments from these leads, what other advisors have told me is that they will speak to about 1 in 10 of these leads. So that means someone fills in a form, they then have to chase that lead to get an appointment, and then they're going to speak to about 1 in 10 of those leads. So if you do the math, that works out at about $2,000 to $3,000 per appointment, just depending on how many leads you can actually speak to, and also what is your cost per lead with whatever lead generation company that you're working with. Now, let's just say someone, for example, has $500,000 in investable assets, and maybe you sell them an annuity. These numbers can actually still be profitable when it comes to generating leads because the commissions are quite high. However, when you're buying leads, you always have to think that you're paying a middle person for those leads. So what happens typically is a lead generation company will generate a lead from, let's say, a Facebook ad, and then they will resell you that same lead with their markup on top, which can often mean you end up paying 10 times more for the lead, depending on how high their markup is. So if you could cut out the middle person and generate the lead yourself directly from the source, you could, in theory, cut your cost per lead by as much as 10 times, again, depending on how much these leads are marked up. So that's why many financial advisors decide to work with us, because we can help them generate their own leads so that they don't have to pay a middle person or a third party lead provider or another company for those leads. They can get their own leads themselves directly from the source, which means they actually pay for the true cost of that lead, not a marked up cost. Now, there's pros and cons of everything. So there are some pros of buying leads, and that would be is that it's very easy. You just place an order and then leads are typically delivered to your inbox in real time. So it's super easy. There's no setup or anything else that you usually have to go through. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that there may be better options or better alternative options for you if you are open to generating your own leads instead of paying the middle person. But again, everyone's different. Some people, they just don't care about generating their own leads. They just want to pay, a certain amount each month and get those leads, and they're fine with chasing them. If that's you, then that's fine. As long as it works for you, that's great. But if you're curious about how much you would pay if you generated your own leads, then this is what we typically see with our clients. So what we typically see is that the average cost per lead is only $20. And this is not for an appointment. This is just for someone that expresses interest in what you do and they'd like to learn more. And then from these leads, again, not all leads will convert into an appointment. And that's okay. That's totally normal. That's just how it works with marketing. However, because your cost per lead is so low, even if you only get 1 in 10 leads converting into an appointment, that's still a $200 cost per appointment that you're now paying. So for our clients, we typically see anywhere from a $50 to $500 cost per appointment, with $200 to $300 being the most common range. Now, you might be wondering what affects the cost per appointment. Why is the range so different? And a lot of the time, it just depends on who you're targeting, where they're located, and most importantly, how much they actually have in investable assets. So usually the more that they have in investable assets, the more it will cost to generate a lead and an appointment with that type of person. But as you can see, generating your own leads can be a lot more profitable compared to buying leads. But it does come with one caveat. And that is that you have to set up a system to generate your own leads. You can't just go to Facebook ads, pay for some ads, and then expect leads to suddenly appear and then convert into appointments. It doesn't work like that. So I'll show you how you can actually get these leads to convert into an appointment in more detail at the end of the video. But if you're watching this video and you're thinking, can you just take care of it for me? Then the answer is yes, this is what we do all the time. If you'd like to learn more about how we can set up that system for you to generate your own leads, just click the link in the description of this video to watch my free masterclass training, which goes through how it all works in more detail. And we offer a complete done-for-you service where we do everything for you so that you just get booked appointments directly onto your calendar with your ideal clients. But anyway, if you've got this far into the video and you do agree that generating your own leads may be a better alternative solution for you, let's go through in a little bit more detail as to which channels or marketing platforms work best when it comes to generating your own leads. So let's move over to the marketing channel comparison table. So in this table, I'm going to give you a more detailed comparison as to what can affect the cost per appointment. So as you can see, I've got rid of cost per lead because at the end of the day, what's more important is how much you're paying per appointment. So like I mentioned earlier, the cost per appointment largely depends on how much someone has in investable assets. So what we typically see is if you're running ads, and the ad channels that we use for our clients is Meta ads and TikTok ads. And yes, you can target an older demographic on TikTok ads. There's a way to target people only over the age of 55. A lot of people think it's just for young people, but no, you can target older ones. And for a lot of our clients, sometimes TikTok ads works even better than Facebook ads. It just depends. But from running Meta ads or TikTok ads, or both of them together, what we typically see as the average cost per appointment with someone that has 100K to 1 million or more in investable assets, with 500K being the average, we see that they are paying on average $200 to $300 per appointment. Now, if you want to have a minimum and you want to only target people that have over $500,000 or more in investable assets, we typically see the cost per appointment jump up a little bit more to $300 to $500 per appointment. And then if you want to go even higher than that and only target people that have over $1 million in investable assets, then what we find is that the cost per appointment is typically $500 to $1,000. And all of these are based on stats when targeting people nationwide. And if you do target people in a smaller location, then your cost per appointment does go even higher because there's less of those people out there. So if you want to lower your cost per appointment as much as possible, then my recommendation would be to have as wide of a location as possible. So many of our clients, they'll target people in multiple states. We even have some clients that sell annuities, and they'll even advertise in states that they're not licensed in yet, because when they get a prospect that is in a state they're not licensed in, then they can very easily and quickly get the license for that state. So the reason for doing that is because, like I mentioned, the wider the location, the lower your cost per appointment is typically going to be. And then we have one more way that might surprise you when it comes to getting appointments, and that is by creating YouTube videos. And this isn't running ads on YouTube or running Google ads. This is by creating YouTube videos that target specific questions that your ideal clients are searching for on Google or on YouTube. And what we found is that when you create these YouTube videos, we found that you can get appointments with people that have anywhere from 100K to $1 million or more in investable assets for free. So you don't even have to pay anything for an appointment because you're not running ads. The only caveat to that is that there is a time investment. So with ads, it's very automated. It doesn't take a lot of your time, and it's very scalable because you can just increase or decrease your budget depending on how many appointments you want every month. But with YouTube content, it is free, but it does take more time. So typically you need to invest about 1 to 2 hours a week of your time in creating those YouTube videos. However, it's very profitable. Now, as a bonus, what we found is that clients that get the best results and get above average results, we have some clients, for example, running Meta ads and TikTok ads, and they're paying less than $200 to $300 per appointment. And the reason they're getting a lower cost per appointment is because they are actually doing YouTube videos as well. So if you want to get the best possible results, then I would recommend doing both ads and YouTube content together because they can both work very well together. So what happens is if someone sees your YouTube videos and then those videos build up trust with that person, and then they later on see an ad on, let's say, Facebook or Instagram, there's going to be a much higher chance that that person clicks on the ad and converts because they recognize the person in the ad because they've seen those YouTube videos. And it also works the other way around. If someone has seen one of your ads and they've clicked and they've converted into a lead, but they haven't yet booked an appointment, if they start to see your YouTube videos, because YouTube videos do such a good job of building up trust with people, if they see these YouTube videos, then there's a higher chance that the leads that you generate from your ads will also convert into an appointment. So again, if you want to get the best possible results, above average results, that would be my recommendation, to run both ads and also create YouTube content at the same time. And that's exactly what we help our clients do. Now, you might be wondering, okay, so once you run ads or you create these YouTube videos, what do you actually do to get all these people to convert into a lead and into an appointment? Because ideally, you don't want to be chasing leads to get an appointment. And that's probably one of the most common things that we hear from clients before working with us, that they were tired of spending so much time chasing leads just to get a single appointment. So wouldn't it be better if leads chased you instead? Well, that can all be done by using the right kind of marketing strategy. So let me show you the strategy that our clients use, and it's also the same strategy that I use in my business. So here is an overview of the sales funnel that we use, or the system that we use to get leads and appointments. So you can see on the left here, we have a bunch of different traffic sources or marketing channels. So these would be things that I just mentioned earlier, like YouTube content or Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and TikTok ads. And then we send all of these people to an opt-in page. This is a page where people can enter their name and email in order to watch a free educational video that explains how you can solve a big painful problem that people have. So when you're targeting people, depending on what kind of services you offer, it could be maybe something along the lines of how to save money in retirement taxes. It could be how to protect your wealth in retirement. It could be how to grow and protect your wealth. It could be how to get a lifetime income in retirement. It could be a bunch of different things, just depending on what is it that you actually want to talk about and what kind of leads you want to generate. Now, when someone enters their name and email, you've now generated a lead. But like I said, a lead is not the same thing as an appointment. So what we want to do is get the lead to book an appointment on your calendar automatically without you having to do any manual follow-ups or chasing them or calling them or texting them in order to get an appointment. So the way that we do that is by using a VSL, or a video sales letter. A video sales letter is basically designed to be a salesperson for you and your business that educates your potential clients about how you can help them. It educates your potential clients about why your solution is better than other alternative solutions that are out there. And then if they like what they hear on that video, they are the ones that are then motivated to fill out an application form and schedule a call in your calendar because they actually want to talk with you. So as an example, let's just say that you offered annuities. In your video sales letter, you could talk about some of the alternative solutions to annuities. So you could say, you could just put all of your money in the stock market, and that's fine. You can get growth in the stock market, but what happens if there's a stock market crash and then you lose a big chunk of your retirement savings or your nest egg? Another alternative solution could be maybe putting your money into banks, bonds, or CDs or things like that. And yes, those solutions are safer than investing your money in the stock market, but the problem is those options don't really give you any guaranteed lifetime income. They don't really grow your money very much compared to inflation. So it's also not a good solution when it comes to growing and protecting your wealth in retirement. So that's when you can then explain why annuities is potentially a better solution than those alternative solutions that we've just gone through. And that's just one example using annuities, but there's all kinds of different ways that you could do this. Again, just depending on what is it that you want to help your clients with. So the key thing is, though, you want to educate them and then motivate them to schedule a call in your calendar because they like what they hear in the video. So this video does all of the chasing for you, so to speak, because in the past, when you get a lead, you would have to chase them to get an appointment. But now the VSL basically does that for you. And yes, we do have some additional follow-up emails that are automated, and those can go out to convert more of the leads that don't maybe watch the video or that they don't schedule a call after watching a video. But just that video on its own is going to save you so much time in getting booked appointments on your calendar. We even have some clients who have generated lots of leads in the past and they haven't converted. And then all they've done is they've taken that list of leads that they've generated and they've sent those leads a video sales letter. And that video sales letter has now got these cold leads that haven't converted to actually convert into an appointment. So that just kind of shows the power of having a really good high converting video sales letter. Now, at this point, you might be wondering, this sounds good, but what do you actually say in the video sales letter? How do you create these different pages? What does it all look like? Well, if you'd like to learn how to actually do that, then just click the link in the description of this video to watch my free masterclass training, because that goes through how this all works in more detail. And at the end of that video, if you'd like us to do all of this for you because you don't want to do it yourself for whatever reason, then I'll go through how that all works in more detail. And you'll also be able to click the link below the video to schedule a call in our calendar. And we actually use the same system, the same funnel that you see here. So when I'm telling you to go to my video sales letter right now, you are in this step of the process. You're going to go to the opt-in page, you're going to watch the video sales letter. And if you like what you hear on the video, you'll also be able to fill in an application form and schedule a call. So the same process that we use to get clients for ourselves is the same process that we use for our clients, for them to get clients. So you'll be able to see exactly how it works by actually clicking on the link in the description of this video, going to that masterclass training, which is my video sales letter, and see how it all works in action. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.